What is going on, everyone? Jason here, and today we're taking a look at quite possibly the hottest phone out so far in 2021, the highly coveted Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. So this is the third Ultra device that Samsung has launched, following the S20 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra, and the saying 3 times the charm might be the best way to describe this phone. And today I thought I'd go over how my experience has been, focusing on both the pros and cons, to help you get a better idea of what using this phone is like, in case you're thinking about picking one up for yourself. Now, something you need to keep in mind early throughout this review, the base model Galaxy S21 Ultra costs $1,199, making this one of the most expensive consumer smartphones in the market today. We'll circle back on price in more detail at the end of the video, but wanted to set the stage with that important statistic as we do get into this review. Okay, so the first thing that we have to talk about is the updated design for the very popular S lineup, and I'm just going to come out and say it, this phone is absolutely gorgeous. This Phantom Black colorway is probably one of the best finishes I've ever seen on any phone. It has this incredible matte finish that gives the device this stealthier physique, while also making it way more fingerprint resistant. And rather than going with the standard approach of contrasting the camera housing with the polished finish, it too has almost a satin gunmetal look that truly makes this one of the most clean yet aggressive looking smartphones to date. I personally love the cyborg-like design of the camera housing wrapping around the phone's back panel. I have to tip my hat off to Samsung for thinking outside the box and trailblazing this new design. To me, it's a home run. They didn't spare anything when it comes to build material either, as you have Gorilla Glass Victus on both the front and back, with a darkened aluminum frame that brings the entire device all together. You get an IP68 dust and water resistance certification, and a massive 6.8-inch edge-to-edge display with just a small hole punch cutout at the center. It's definitely a large phone when it comes to dimensions, but it actually feels surprisingly comfortable when you get it into your hands. The button placement is well executed, and navigating around the phone's UI is something I didn't have any problems with. Honestly, there's not much that I would say would be negative in terms of the S21 Ultra's design. Yes, you do get a pretty horrible phone rock when on a flat surface due to this camera housing, but to be fair, that's a norm for virtually every phone these days. It is noticeably thicker and heavier than last year's model, but not to the point where it interfered with the comfort or ergonomics of the phone. At the end of the day, I can't get over how impressed I am with the aesthetics of this device. I'm seriously fixated with how much I love this look. Just the way the phone catches the light, I was in awe at how beautiful this device is as I was filming it. I know it's only been a week and 2021 just started, but I feel confident that this will go down as one of the best designed phones of the year. It's really that good. And to really build off that comment, let's take a closer look at the S21 Ultra's display. It's a Samsung Super AMOLED display that comes in at a max resolution of 3200 by 1440, and as to be expected, the panel is best in class. Everything is razor sharp, the display can get really bright, you get fantastic contrast with those inky blacks, and this is one of the most immersive viewing experiences you can ask for on a smartphone. I'm also happy to see that Samsung is gradually getting their flagship phones to a less curved display. This is one of the flattest we've seen in a long time. It makes it easier to operate, and it still looks great in my opinion. Now you can actually go into the settings and choose between 3 different display resolutions. It's a nice to have to help preserve battery life, and to be honest, the quality differences between the 3 when it comes to day-to-day use is going to be really difficult to notice with the naked eye. Now, one of the areas in which this particular Ultra device differs from others is that it's able to leverage its most crowning feature, the adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, at the display's highest resolution. The previous models required that you clock down the screen to 1080p to take advantage of this higher refresh rate. Honestly, it was a small price to pay because, again, you're not going to notice much of a difference between 1080p and the high resolution when dealing with a display of this size. So it is a leap forward being able to have this buttery smooth refresh rate at the max resolution, but it's more of something to boast about on paper because from a user standpoint, most people won't even know that a change occurred. However, a feature that is truly new is that the S21 Ultra can support Samsung's S Pen. Once exclusive to the Note lineup, it's a great addition if you're a power user, but it doesn't come with one in the box, and there's no integrated way to store it. I personally don't use the S Pen too often at all, but it does seem to work seamlessly here, which is great to see. The adaptive refresh rate does help save battery, and it doesn't over throttle or get all janky. Samsung really knows how to do displays well, and this is probably one of the best out there on any phone. Now, a display like this is going to require a really good battery, and so far the battery life on the S21 Ultra has been pretty good. It's packing a beefy 5000 mAh battery that again makes this phone kinda heavy and definitely a thick boy, but it's a good move by Samsung to equip this phone with a large power source. Even when running the phone at max resolution with the highest refresh rate, I didn't have any problems getting through the day with regular use, and even on days of heavier use. I didn't have to do any emergency re-ups, which was great to see. The S21 Ultra also supports 25-watt fast charging via USB-C. Unfortunately, Samsung no longer includes a power brick in the box. Thank you, Apple. And it also supports 15-watt Qi wireless charging. At the end of the day, you're gonna get solid battery life with this phone, even if you're a power user who does more than the average Joe with his or her phone. And when it comes to performance overall, the S21 Ultra really doesn't disappoint. The US version I have here is packing Qualcomm's newest chipset, the Snapdragon 888 processor, and this thing is blazing fast. Apps load up quickly, UI navigation is snappy and smooth, and the little gaming I was able to do with this phone has been really enjoyable. Now I did end up going with the base model S21 Ultra, which comes with a reasonable 128GB of internal storage and 12GB of RAM. If you do opt to go with the fully decked out 512GB version, you will get a bump up to 16GB of RAM, but I would say for the here and now, you're likely not going to notice a difference between the two. Now an area where I really did see a noticeable improvement in terms of performance is the S21 Ultra's new Fingerprint Reader. The sensor is larger and way easier to access, and to me it's significantly faster than last year's version. This is great because my biggest complaints to the Fingerprint Reader last year was that it was a bit slow and difficult to access. Samsung made this way better, and that's saying a lot coming from a Face ID fanboy. And the last area of performance that we have to talk about, of course, are the cameras. You get a total of 5 cameras on the S21 Ultra. There's a 40 megapixel front-facing camera that can shoot 4K video at either 30 or 60 frames per second. So far the selfies are coming out great. They have a cooler profile, which I do like. And the front-facing video is probably only second to the iPhone. It's pretty outstanding. On the back, you have 4 different cameras starting with the insane 108 megapixel standard wide-angle camera, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, a 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom, and a 10 megapixel 10x periscope lens. That's a lot of cameras, but I actually found each of those focal lengths pretty useful. I'm still not a fan of the space zoom that can get to 100x, that's still a gimmick to me, but the photos coming out of each camera's fixed focal length is pretty damn good. Images are sharp, it gets a really good dynamic range, and the variety of shots that you can get with this phone is almost unlimited. I will say that the S21 Ultra continues a trend I've noticed with a lot of Samsung phones, of slightly overdoing it with exposure when shooting outside during the day, but the focus issue that plagued the original S20 Ultra seems to have gotten a lot better. Now when it comes to video, the S21 Ultra continues to boast the ability to shoot at an insane 8K resolution at 24 frames per second, and despite it burning up all your internal storage, the footage here is pretty outstanding. You can see the focusing has gotten a lot better, no more awful hunting, and it still blows my mind that this 8K footage is coming out of a phone. The S21 Ultra can also shoot pretty great 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, and I've said this before, but the video quality Samsung is putting out on their newest phones is the only true contender to what the iPhone is bringing to the table, and that's saying a lot. Overall, when it comes to the phone's cameras, it's definitely up there as some of the best photos and video available today. It's not at the level of what the Google Pixel and the iPhones are delivering in my opinion, but it's really close. And if you really think about it, I didn't say too much negative about the S21 Ultra because honestly, it's been a joy to use over the past week. That being said though, we have to return to something I mentioned at the top of the video that really can't be ignored, the price tag. At $1,300, this phone better be pretty freaking good and then some in order to make it anywhere near worth it. In my opinion, if you're a tech enthusiast that uses their phone way more than the average Joe and really appreciates the newest features and upgrades, the S21 Ultra won't disappoint. It's an absolutely stunning device that hits top marks on virtually every category I can think of, and there's nothing I found so far that would make me hesitant to recommend this phone minus the exorbitant price tag. If you're on a budget but want to make as little concessions as possible when it comes to features, you should honestly check out the regular Galaxy S21. I'll be releasing my 1 week later on this phone very shortly, and even though there are some pretty big differences between this and the S21 Ultra, you'd be surprised at how much value this guy is bringing to the table for a way cheaper price. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on that upcoming review. That's about it for this one. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you guys found it useful. Again, I'd really appreciate it. Check out these reviews of the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the Note 20 Ultra. If you're looking for more top-end reviews, let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.